What did you make of what you just heard, specifically and particularly Governor Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, having some things to say about the lionization of this shooter, which we have seen both online and off?
Yeah, I've seen it myself. I was taken aback by the degree of seeming happiness with the demise of a corporate CEO. I get the fact that we all have horror stories about healthcare insurance and denials of claims or battles that we may have engaged in or family members. But the answer, of course, to societal problems is not murder. And I think one of the things that began to concern me, Joy, as this went on and on, was the possibility that we could have a kind of hero fugitive where people would not be helping to capture him. So this ended well with a citizen doing the right thing. And it was, you know, as high tech as we've become in law enforcement, and we're on camera all the time, and high tech facial recognition, and all of that, it came down to releasing the photos that we had, right, even though they were masked, and then letting the public do their job. It's the crowdsourcing of crime solving. And as sophisticated as we may get, I'm all about believing in releasing what you have and letting citizens get the work done for you in support of what you're doing.
And I think that process, and this is something that I think you probably thought about, that we've talked about behind the scenes just among producers, is whether or not that sort of lionization of him and really people's genuine anger. And I think, as you said, legitimate anger at this industry may have made fewer people willing to do that, willing to come forward. Do you think that, I mean, this man's face was literally everywhere. There was a picture of him unmasked with just a surgical mask on the back of a car. There were images of him all over the place. There's CCTV all over New York. He rode away on a bike. There was a lot of information that was sort of gathered about him. Do you think that maybe the delay in apprehending him had something to do with people's sense that maybe some people didn't want him to get caught?
It's a valid question. This went on, and despite all the publicity, so you've got to ask yourself, for example, and we'll get to this, I suppose, maybe in a few days. You've got a friend, family member, colleague, and his photo's everywhere, and you're not identifying him to the police? He's been missing for 2 weeks. Where is that friend or family member? We heard earlier today at an NYPD press conference that this guy was not on their radar screen. That's astounding to me, that no one called in and said, hey, I think that's my cousin. I think that's my college roommate. So that's a fascinating question that we need to get to the bottom of. And then we need, we all want to know why, right, Joy? So where's the connection to United Healthcare? Is it, as has been reported, that he has some kind of back issue? I noted as I went through all of his books that he's read, which he's posted online, that one of the books, in addition to Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber's book, which he commented extensively on, and that's significant, was another book about back pain and dealing with medical practice and treatment for back pain, which the book describes as kind of a game or a farce, that doctors want to string you along with your back pain. So I don't know, but we want to know that, and it will help to go toward ideology.
And let's talk about some of the things that made it look like he was leaving sort of breadcrumbs, really, almost for investigators. There was the backpack full of Monopoly money. There was the World War II firearm that had a suppressor on it. There was, the words that were written on the bullet casings that match a book that was critical of the healthcare insurance industry. You could go on and on. I mean, I was even sort of fascinated by the fact that this man stayed in a youth hostel or in a hostel where there were 6 other people, strangers, who could identify him there, and then took his mask down to allegedly flirt with the person at the front desk. Like, it almost, riding away on a bike, like you name it, it felt like some of the behavior was almost the behavior of somebody who was actually leaving breadcrumbs in order to be caught. Is that something that you, as an FBI, I don't know if you were a profiler when you were in the agency, but the profile seems odd for somebody who was trying to get away.
Yeah, look, this is not the profile of someone who kills a CEO like this. This young man, extremely bright, master's degree from an Ivy League school, wealthy family, he's got a bright future ahead of him, and that's over now. But he does seem to match a profile of someone who's an activist killer. He's killing for a cause. If you read what he's written about the Unabomber, he concludes that under some circumstances it is ethical to murder someone, particularly around corporate greed and money. Is that why he left monopoly money for the police to see, that it's all about money? With regard to the gun, and I have to bring this up because of gun safety concerns throughout our society, that gun that he had, we now know, was a ghost gun, illegal in many states and federally, because it's made with a 3D printer. You can do this at home. You can go rent a 3D printer. You can access it at your library sometimes and say, yeah, I need 3 hours on a printer every day. That's what happened here. And, you know, make your own gun. And they can't be traced. So this is increasingly a problem that police tell us they find these guns at crime scenes with increasing frequency. It's a problem, and it should be a part of the discussion of this case.
Frank Figliuzzi, always appreciate you being here to give us all of those insights. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And up next, one of the more unexpected responses, as we've just been talking about in this show so far, to that murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, is the outpouring of anger against the healthcare industry and its executives.